welcome back to the Tyranny Stories channel, where today I read a romance novel for the first time in a long time. Well, I probably finished it a couple weeks ago, and I've just kind of really been sitting on how it was, what I did or didn't like about it, whatnot. So we will just get right into that. And then starting with the book that I read, which was the Nicholas Sparks' Every Breath. I have the Book of the Month edition from, I don't remember what year this is from. 2018, I think, maybe 2019. So lots of comments about the book. I might break this up into sections, I don't know, but overall, I would say I probably didn't like it as much. But for me, what was crazy about it was also large spoilers all over this video, because it's basically a review of this book. So it starts out with a girl and her dog. I think he gets hit by a car or something. She's on the beach, and the guy brings her dog back to her. She finds him very attractive, and they have coffee together or tea or whatever, and then they part ways for the day, and then the next day they come back together. And they have dinner, and it gets a little steamy. Not to mention, I was listening to the audiobook of this in the car on the way to college, and I almost just stopped like right there and, you know, made a video about that. But just like kind of making a vlog style thing from my car, but I decided not to because I had to get to class. But you know, that was really crazy for me. And then what's even crazier is, so she has a boyfriend throughout this whole thing in the beginning part, and so these two, they meet, they have dinner, kind of like a date, and then they get a little steamy, and then they, you know, part ways. But in between there, she has a boyfriend who is trying to propose to her, and she says she needs time to think about it. Obviously, she doesn't tell him she was just kind of with another guy, but eventually they get married, and they're together for, I think, like 10 years, and it doesn't end up working out for them, but they do have a couple kids. I think it's a boy and a girl, and then by the time they're teenagers, the mom, she doesn't have a whole lot going on in her life because they're already been divorced at that point, her and the boyfriend. So then she goes kind of, you know, after her daughter tells her mom, you know, you should really try to get back out there and, you know, maybe date or something like that. She goes looking for any remnants of the guy from so many years back, and she finds nothing. But then she goes to this, it's a mailbox kind of thing where you put in a piece of mail, and then you get to read all the other ones that are in there. And so she does that again because they had done it earlier in the book, because she wanted to show the guy some really cool places. So she goes back there, she puts a piece of mail in it, and then, or she writes a letter to him, and then she reads a letter that she was sure must have been from him, because you don't put your name on it, just who it's to. And she finds it, and then they meet up for a couple minutes at the end of the book, and then bam, book over. So for me, maybe it's because I haven't read a romance novel in a long time, but this book was, I didn't really like it that much. It felt weird where the time jumps were, the parts that were longer, the parts that we kind of like skipped and move on from. And it might also not have helped that I listened to it as an audiobook mostly. Like, I started by reading it, but then I spent a lot of the time listening to it as an audiobook on my commute to like work or school, or if I'm going to the grocery store, you know, I'll listen to this book because I just wanted to get it over with. I was like, get this book done. But I don't know, the way it was written was kind of weird too to me, but I can't say it's like the worst book I've ever read, because I don't ever think a book is absolutely the worst thing I've ever read. Like, I'll always at least finish a book, which leads me into something else. Is people are always saying, oh, you know, don't be afraid to DNF a book, which means did not finish, by the way. But there's like, oh, don't be afraid to DNF a book. For me, it's I find more value in finishing the book. Whether I liked it or not doesn't really matter, but I find more, I don't know, I learn something every time I read a book, so I always want to finish the book. This one was just, it was a little hard to get through, but I think listening to the audiobook helped a lot too. I got through it a little bit quicker because when I listen to an audiobook, I actually listen to it at double speed because apparently I listen a lot faster than I read. So I'll finish like, oh, let's say the book was 4 hours. It would only take me 2 hours to finish it. So I could finish a book in like a day, which that would be a really short book. By the way, it'd probably be only like a 100-page book, but you get the point. So this book, when it comes down to it, I think I would only give it like 1 star because I was able to actually, finish it. And I mean, there were some things to learn in there, like kind of how to write certain ways and how romances work and whatnot. But I think for me, what really kind of killed it for me was that she had already had a boyfriend, yet she was kind of messing around with this guy and then never told her boyfriend about it. They were married for like 10 years, got divorced, and then she tells him about this whole thing and goes after this guy way later in her life. And I don't know, I just don't like that kind of plot. That's not, I don't know, I don't really like it at all. But that is going to be the end of this video. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever read this book and what you think of it, or what romance books you've read recently, any books you've read recently. Literally tell me anything in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.